Okay, welcome back to this news. A federal judge issued a preliminary injunction blocking Florida state and federal officials from sending new illegal alien detainees to Alligator Alcatraz in the Everglades and demanded Florida begin dismantling elements of the facility within 60 days, things like temporary fencing and generators. Joining us now, legal pro Julian Epstein. Julian, great to see you again. Thank you so much. What's your reaction to this story? It's about harming the environment and wildlife. That's what U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams cited.
Well, frankly, Liz, if I were the Trump administration, I would have done an environmental review. I would have done it expedited. It probably could have been done within 30 days, and it would have mooted this whole issue. That said, what the court is saying here is because there's federal monies being used for new construction, it needed that environmental review. It's not entirely clear. It'll be challenged on appeal because the Alligator Alley facility is primarily a state-run facility, and it's not even clear that this case was brought in the right venue. It was brought in the Southern District of Florida. It may very well should have been brought in the Central District where Alligator Alley is located.
So can they fix the runoff and things like wastewater discharge into the Everglades? I mean, the state of Florida filed a notice of appeal, and Florida Governor DeSantis and Trump White House officials said, you know, this facility, they say, has zero impact on the environment, but the judge says otherwise.
Well, the zero impact is not the test. The test is whether you look at what the environmental impact and you weigh the benefits and the costs of it, and you make sort of a decision as to whether the benefits outweigh the environmental costs. And again, I think the reason why I would have done my own review if I had been the Trump White House is because I don't think a judge is going to get in and second guess an administration decision. But there is also a bigger decision, a bigger issue here, Liz, which is and the administration didn't really pursue this in the district court, but it could on appeal, and it could if it goes to the Supremes, which is this whole notion, if the president makes a determination that immigration enforcement is paramount for national security, can you have bureaucrats, low-level bureaucrats, conducting an environmental review that would effectively countermand the president on a national security issue? And that's the kind of case that a Brett Kavanaugh, say, at the Supreme Court would look very dubiously on. And so I think there's a separate issue here that is brewing and that will become mature as it goes up on appeal.
Let's move on to this news today about John Bolton. What do you make of the FBI conducting a court-authorized search of his Maryland home and his Washington office? There is part of a potential criminal investigation into the potential mishandling of classified information. What do you think about this?
Well, there's a lot of discussion out there, Liz, about is this retribution, is this not retribution? Of course, none of us want to see retribution. I was on the show a lot saying the Democrats were going after Trump on lawfare in a lot of cases that were bogus, like the one that was thrown out in New York yesterday. I think none of us really have the facts right now. There's a question as to whether information, classified information, was leaked purposefully. And if that is so, then that's a serious offense, as we are looking back on Russiagate as well. There's evidence that came up this week on Russiagate about, you know, Brennan and Comey and others in the intelligence community leaking information to try to damage Trump and to try to imply that he was a Russian asset in 2017. So the leaking thing has gotten out of control. And I think it is right for the Justice Department to get serious about that issue.
Let's talk about leaking in Russiagate. How serious is Russiagate? How much does it matter for the future of the United States of America?
I think it's a very serious matter. Look, I mean, just so your viewers understand it, there's no question that Russia was attempting to monkey around in 2016, but the intelligence community determined at the end of the Obama administration that it was insignificant and that there was no evidence of Trump involvement. What it looked like the Obama administration did, the Obama intelligence officials did, was they goosed that. When Obama ordered a new report on December 9th, it looked like they were driving it to say that the interference by the Russians did influence the election, was consequential, and that Trump was likely to be involved. And they did things like including in the second review, the second report, the Steele dossier. And then what happened after that is the intelligence community leaked that and ran a campaign for the next 4 years suggesting that Trump was an illegitimate president and that he was a Russian asset. I myself made mistakes in 2017. I myself was mistaken by that propaganda that was put out there. And it does seem like there was some abuse. What the penalty should be for that abuse, what the reckoning should be, we need to get more facts on the table. But it does seem like there was some significant abuse.
Scary that U.S. intelligence officials, FBI director accused of being involved in propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary. I think we need to get all the facts out on the table, and I think when we get all the facts out on the table, there's going to be some reckoning to be had by some of the Obama administration officials. Brennan, Clapper, Comey, you go on down the list. They seemed to have known in December 9th of 2016 that the evidence of Trump being involved was practically nil, and the evidence of it being consequential in the 2016 election was practically nil.
Julian Epstein, thank you so much. Great insights there. Good to see you.